ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Basics of Srimad Bhagavad Gita we are discussing. So before we proceed ahead, I would like to ask, you can share what we discussed yesterday. Yes. So till now we discussed is that everyone gets attracted towards opulences, minute opulences present uh, in somebody, which are absolutely or originally present in Supreme Lord Krishna. So, so if this attraction principle is opulences present in the Supreme Lord, so one should get attracted to the Supreme Lord because originally these opulences are there. The next we are going to discuss about dharma of the soul. So attraction principle we covered, Supreme Lord and soul. The relationship between Supreme Lord and soul is that of boss and das. So we are boss or das? Yes, boss and das. Soul is das, Supreme Lord is boss, but the soul who is das, he considers himself to be boss, just like this child is sitting on the boss chair. He thinks that I am boss. He is not actually boss. His father is boss. His father maintains him. But he thinks like this. Similarly, the living entity soul, they think that we are controller, we are master, we are boss, and Lord is our order supplier, Lord is our servant. That's why they go and demand to the Supreme Lord that you do for us, you do this for us, you provide us this facility. Just like a master commands the servant and demands from the servant that you give me this facility, you provide this facility for me. So similarly, we also do. In this world, people do like this, even in the name of dharma and while worshipping the Lord, we demand from the Lord. So, but our actual position is that we are servant. The servant means service to Supreme Lord. He should serve Supreme Lord. So Narayan, this Vaikuntha consciousness, this is the picture which you are seeing. This is a picture of Vaikuntha planet. A pure devotee of Supreme Lord, while coming from Vaikuntha, he took these photographs to show us what is the environment in Vaikuntha. You can just see, although there are living entities, they exactly look like Narayana. Their bodily features, beauty, and everything is exactly like Lord Narayana, but still they maintain this consciousness that they are servant of Lord Narayana. And in this way, they also experience the same bliss as the Supreme Lord Narayana. But as soon as a living entity leaves this environment and he wants to become boss and comes to this material world, then instead of getting bliss, ananda, or santushti, satisfaction, he gets miseries only. So God is a supreme person and all souls are his eternal servants. That is a fact. Everyone can understand because we are subordinate to this. We are maintained, controlled, and nourished by Supreme Lord. That's why he is our master and we are his subordinate. So plural subordinates get nourished by serving the single Supreme. There are so many subordinates, they get nourished by serving the single Supreme. Just like in the school, where students they follow rules by principle, and that's why they receive education, training, and degree. In the company, the employees serve the plans of CEO, and that's why they get salary, perks, and facilities. In the nation, the citizens aligned by the laws made by Prime Minister, and they get the facilities, they receive social facilities and welfare from the government. Similarly, when the living entities, the souls in this world, when they align with the Supreme Lord, when they serve, service to the Supreme Lord is done by spirit souls, then we receive eternal happiness. That is the law. This is the rule. This is the principle. All the souls are part and parcels of Supreme Lord. They can only get nourishment and happiness by service to God. So this is a small quiz. So make two tables, one with the heading demonic and the other divine, and list at least 5 qualities of these two classes that you can think of. So you can give at least one example from Shastra and from your practical experience for demonic and divine qualities. Means you have to identify what are the demonic qualities and what are these divine qualities. Mentality. So I'll give one example, then you need to think of other examples. Just like one of the divine quality, mentality is that one rebels against God's laws. The Supreme Lord has given certain kinds of laws or ways how one should lead one's life. So those who are having demonic quality, demonic mentality, that means those who are demons, they rebel against laws given by God. Whereas the divine qualities, persons who have divine qualities, they obey God's laws. This is one thing. Yes, can you tell us something else? Some more qualities? Yes, try. So like this. The remaining quality is selflessly concerned about one's own gratification, one's own sense gratification, selfishness. And divine quality is selfless service to God and others. Divine quality is I am self-made man. That means uh, I myself is independent. I'm fully independent to do whatever I want. That is divine quality. And divine quality is one is always grateful to God. He understands that whatever success, whatever happiness, whatever nourishment and prosperity I get, that is by the mercy of God. That is divine quality. A demonic mentality is just do it. It has become a famous brand. Just do it. Because in Kali Yuga, most of the people, they are demonic. That's why such kind of thing, it becomes a brand. Just do it. Eat, drink, and enjoy. But this is demonic mentality. And divine mentality is be conscious. And one should being conscious to avoid sin. Think before you act. One should think before doing any activity, whether it is sinful or pious, whether it is going to bind me in the reactions of karma or it is going to liberate me. So those who are having a good brain, they think before acting. But those who in their brains, cow dung is there, not even cow dung is so pure. Some other animals' dung is there, and they propagate this philosophy. Just do it. Eat, drink, and enjoy. Nothing to worry. So this is demonic mentality. Now, one of the example of demonic mentality is Duryodhana, and divine mentality is Yudhishthira Maharaj. So this is so those who have divine mentality, they always have this consciousness that we are servant or sons or dependent subordinates of God, and God is our maintainer, controller, and he maintains us, his master. So that's why God is not just a light or energy. God is actually a person who, because that's why he can become master. Master cannot be just a light. So in the now in these few slides, we'll be discussing about this. Is God some impersonal light and energy, or he is he a person? So this we shall discuss. I think okay. So many people, because they don't have this knowledge, experience of God being a person, so they think that God means some impersonal light or energy, some impersonal. Impersonal means which has no form, no personality. It's just a dull, something dull thing, some power, some energy is there, which runs the entire universe. So that is the conception of some of the ignorant people in this world who think that this entire creation is being run by some kind of power, energy, light only. Of course, this entire creation is run by energy and power, impersonal energy or power, light. But behind that impersonal energy and power, there is a hand of a supremely intelligent person to whom we cannot see with our eyes, but through some of the examples and some Sanskrit references, we will try to understand. So is God some impersonal light or energy, or is he a person? Impersonal means, is God, does God has no form? Is he just energy, or is he a person? So first of all, we will try to understand with our own reasoning, logics, just like Microsoft, a well-managed MNC with operations around the world. Microsoft is a multinational company and it's very nicely managed around the world. So behind all that, this Microsoft company is a impersonal energy of the company. Many branches are there. But behind this big company, there is a person running and managing it. Although he cannot be seen by everyone. Nobody of us have seen this person who is managing Microsoft, but we have experienced that Microsoft is running. So, but anybody can understand without the person managing this company cannot manage on itself. There is requirement. Similarly, this entire creation is being managed by a person, a country. Similarly, the example of a country we can understand. So this a country is governed by the elected party. Ultimately, there is a person heading it. So in the government also, country, so many departments, everything is there. But ultimately, there is a prime minister who heads it and who directs it. And similarly, in this way, we can understand this gigantic universe is also like a government, well managed. It is known as universal government. So this gigantic universe having perfect organization and control. So who is the person behind the gigantic manifestation? There must be some person who is directing, who is managing, who is creating this such a vastly great manifestation. And that's why even Albert Einstein, although he didn't know who the person is, but through his scientific researches and with his deep understanding of science, he came to this conclusion that he's made this statement. Behind this entire cosmic manifestation, there is a perfect brain. There is a perfect brain, he said. That means there is a person who is managing everything. Although I don't know who that person is, but there must be some person who is having very nice, great brain who is managing everything. So, but we know by the mercy of our acharyas and through scriptural references, we know who is that person who manages everything, who creates everything. Although he is unseen, he is not to be seen by anyone. Even the great demigods, means living entities on higher planets, also cannot see him, because everyone is just engaged in within the universe. But this great personality known as Lord Mahavishnu is beyond the universe. So how can we see him? There was an astronaut, so he went in the space, and he came out of his small Sputnik, and he just looked around 360-degree, and he came back to the earth and said, see, I went to the space, and I came out of my plane, my Sputnik, and I saw everywhere there was no God. So it's a misconception, there is no God. So that is very childish. It's like a small ant is running within the room, and she says that there is no other living entity. So what capacity do we have got to see such a great personality who creates and maintains and destroys the entire universe? But in the Bhagavad Gita, we get this information. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. So in the 10th chapter, verse number 8, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhu. Everything emanates from me. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates. Emanates means everything is created or generated from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So those people who are wise, intelligent, Buddha means intelligent being. They perfectly understand this and they worship me. They love me. So Krishna himself is declaring Krishna is not impersonal light. Krishna is not impersonal energy. Krishna is Achinta Guna Swarupam Yamashama Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam. He is a person, very, very, very beautiful. We have already discussed six opulences of Krishna. Krishna is very beautiful. He is the most wealthiest person, and he is most intelligent, most knowledgeable. All the wealth and strength, knowledge, beauty, renunciation, all the opulences are there in Krishna. So he is a person. There's no doubt about it. So Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. So when in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna declares that I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds, then how come this wrong misconception can arise that everything is just created by some impersonal light or energy? Krishna is declaring completely the Bhagavad Gita. Nobody can defy the authority of Bhagavad Gita. Not even a single person till now, till date, is able to defy the authority of Bhagavad Gita. Nobody has done this. Nobody has the power even to say that Bhagavad Gita is unauthorized or Bhagavad Gita is mythology. Nobody can say this. Everyone accepts this. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is clearly states, yeah, anyone can understand. The Sanskrit is not so difficult. Aham means I. Sarvasva means everything. Prabhava means generate. I generate everything. Mattaha means from me. Sarva means everything. Pravartate means comes. From me everything comes. I am the generator of everything. Iti matva, one who can understand this. Bhajante mam, he serves me. Mam means me. Buddha, such an intelligent, buddhiman Vyakti. Buddha means buddhiman. Bhav Samanvita, with all his heart and love and devotion, he serves me. So Krishna is declaring. So scripturally proof we can understand in this way. So another verse from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Na tad bhasyate suryo na sasanko na pavaka yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama." Krishna explains about his own personal abode, personal dham. This material world is Devi dham, where rebellious souls are put under the custody of Mother Durga. So it's a prison house. But Krishna is the creator of this prison house, as well as he has his own personal dham, personal abode, personal kingdom, where his pure servants, pure devotees live with him, and they have loving exchanges. So that supreme abode of mine is not illumined by sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So that spiritual world, Krishna says, is not illumined by sun, moon, or electricity or fire. Nothing is required. It is self-illuminated, self-sufficient. And those who reach there, they never return to this temporary material world. So in the beginning of Battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was under stress because he was depending on his own ideas of becoming happy without consulting Lord Shri Krishna. So Arjuna became depressed. But when he heard Bhagavad Gita, he got clear conception. So Arjuna was lamenting so much because of bodily consciousness, because of lack of knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna said, my limbs are quivering, hairs are standing on end, my whole body is trembling. All these symptoms he was manifesting. He was lamenting like anything. So Arjuna was a friend, a devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. Realizing that Lord Shri Krishna is only shelter, Arjuna prayed to be guided by him. So Krishna, being the supreme Lord, is the supreme well-wisher of his devotees. So by aligning with Krishna's guidance, Arjuna achieved victory and happiness. In this way, Arjuna was very much depressed in depression, but as soon as he aligned with the guidance of Krishna in the form of Bhagavad Gita, so he became victorious, happy. When Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives complete knowledge about himself, about creation. So Lord Krishna told Arjuna to surrender unto him only. That is the final instruction of Bhagavad Gita. So by doing so, one can become free from all suffering, ultimately attain the spiritual world. That is the way of attaining and becoming free from all the suffering situation and attaining to the supreme abode of Supreme Lord. Finally, in the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, Sanjaya confirms this. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Sanjaya said, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So whoever takes shelter of Krishna, all this opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality can be automatically achieved by a devotee of the Supreme Lord. The proof is Pandavas. Pandavas were five and Kauravas were 100. But still, Pandavas won the battle. Why? Because Pandavas had Krishna. They followed Dharma and they had father of Dharma, Lord Shri Krishna on their side. That's why even though they were five and they remained five, or although Kauravas were 100, but they became zero. None of the Kauravas uh, 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 remained alive after the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But from Pandava's side, all the five Pandavas were victorious and they were alive because they were under the guidance of Krishna. Thus, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna will also be successful. That's why anyone who can follow in the footsteps of Arjuna. And to follow in the footsteps of Arjuna means to follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Because Arjuna surrendered to Krishna and he followed the teachings, he perfectly understood the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and he followed the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and he became victorious. Similarly, we can also become victorious in life, material as well as spiritually. Material victory is to become free from anxiety, distress, depression, inferiority complex, all these things. And spiritual victory is to become free from the cycle of birth and death. So both kind of victories can be achieved by a person who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna and who accepts the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. That is why Bhagavad Gita teaching is so important. So Lord Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal, protector of his devotees. He is always willing to give protection to his devotees. Whoever uh, takes shelter of Krishna. And how can we take shelter of Krishna? By two things. By doing two things. First is by understanding his instructions on Bhagavad Gita and by chanting his name. So one can take shelter of Krishna. And then Krishna being Bhakta Vatsa means protector of his devotee. He is always willing to help his devotee. So prayers go up and blessings come down this way. Just like he saved Draupadi. So that is the dharma of the soul. And that is the relationship between the Supreme Lord and soul. Supreme Lord is master, maintainer, controller, and soul is servant, maintained and controlled. So, based on this relationship, the dharma of the soul is to render service, loving service to the Supreme Lord. Because this relationship is not based on some exchange. That's why relationship is eternal, relationship is natural, relationship is there. Krishna is naturally, eternally master, and we are naturally, eternally servant. So, without any material motivation. So, dharma means our duty is to render loving service to Supreme Lord. Just like every living being renders service to someone in this matter. So, this is the proof that we are servant and we have our dharma. Natural dharma is to serve. Dharma is a word. Dharma is something. It's a characteristic of a living entity which can never be destroyed. Just like any element has characteristics, dharma. Just like sugar, the dharma of sugar, characteristics of sugar is to be sweet. It's the characteristic of sugar. The dharma of water is wetness is the water, dharma of water. Similarly, dharma of any living entity, spiritual soul, spark, is to serve. That is characteristics which cannot be destroyed. So that is why, although in this material world, in this world, people have forgotten their real dharma of serving the Supreme Lord, but still that dharma remains with them, and they try to serve in various aspects. If you find any person, any living entity, they are engaged in the service of somebody. Parents serve children, husband serves wife serves husband, teachers serve students serve teacher, politicians serve citizens serve politician. Uh, So in this way, everyone is serving. If there is no one to serve, people keep cats and dogs to serve them because the propensity is there to serve somebody. So, but such services in this world is terminated at the time of death. The result of rendering service, doing service to any of the material, any of the person or any of the object in this material world is that it is terminated or it is destroyed at the time of death. And that's why it cannot give us complete satisfaction and happiness. So every living being loves someone and every living being wants to be served and loved. But relationship and love in this material world is temporary. That's why it cannot satisfy the soul. So every living being has tendency to love and serve. That tendency is there. Why? Because naturally, eternally, we have this tendency to love and serve God. But now we have forgotten Him. That's why this tendency is being manifested towards the pupil and object of this material world. But as soon as we align our this service, dovetail our this tendency of serving propensity, then we can become happy. So where should we repose our loving and serving propensity? Towards God. So if we repose back our loving tendency services towards God, then we can become happy. And that is actually the dharma of the soul. The soul is eternal. So dharma of the soul, that means nature, to serve and love God is also eternal. That is why it is known as Sanatana Dharma. So dharma means nature. Just like I already mentioned, the dharma or nature of sugar is to be sweet. Nature of salt is to be salty. Nature of ice, dharma is to be cold. Nature of water or dharma of water is to be liquid. That is dharma of water. So similarly, it is the nature of the soul to serve God with unconditional love. That is the dharma or nature of the soul. So if soul can do this dharma, follow this nature, then he can become perfectly happy. So God is eternal and soul is also eternal. So therefore, the loving relationship between the two is also eternal. That eternal love and service to God is called Sanatana. This is known as Ananta. So God is also eternal, permanent, and we, the soul, we are also eternal, permanent. And we have a loving relationship with God, that is also eternal. So that eternal love and service to God, that is actually Sanatana. Just as a man suffering from amnesia forgets his parents and relatives, so there is a disease called amnesia, so because of which he forgets his relatives and parents and he suffers. Similarly, we have forgotten our love and service to God and we are put into this material world. And that's why we are suffering. So having forgotten God, we are reposing the love and service in temporary relationships in this material world. Different ways. But actually we are not becoming happy by this. So many different, we are trying to uh, serve different in different relationship, spouse centeredness, family centeredness, money centeredness, wealth centeredness, work centeredness, possession centeredness, pleasure centeredness, pet centeredness, friend enemy centeredness. In this way, because of forgetting our real relationship with God, that God is our central point, we make centers so many different people, and that's why we suffer. And if, as soon as we become aware of our real dharma of the soul, loving service to the Supreme Lord, then we become naturally happy. So with this, we will end here. The last aspect of this session is that we are not gods, we are gods. Because this is also one of the misconception people think. Some of the people think that every one of us are God. We just have to realize that we are God. But actually, we are not God. We are gods. We are not gods. We are gods. Difference. There is difference in the two. So this we shall discuss too. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Yes, Ankita Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I have a question regarding this. Ki, like, we forget Krishna, so we are here. So, if Prabhu, we will able to remember 21 days practice as we have learned in some other places. Like 21 days practice make us do things regularly. So, will this make me connected to Krishna in a
Yes.
deep manner? If 16 mala, I dedicatedly form that 16 mala, I will do 21 days. Will help with like amnesia problem. Hare Krishna.
Yes. That's why only 21 days. Every day, if we chant 16 rounds, and why just 16 rounds? The more we chant, the more we become connected to the Supreme Lord. And in this way, the more we can revive our lost, forgotten relationship with Him. And then uh, we situate ourselves in our natural position of being the servant of the Supreme Lord. In this way, after becoming naturally situated in that position, we can experience real bliss and happiness. That's it. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, 21 days practice habit can be made. But after 21 days, next 21 days practice should be done. That's good.